Have you ever had a player sacrifice their character for the rest of the party? It's a pretty cool moment, right? So there's this massive werewolf. He's a techno-mancer werewolf. He's a wolfkin, but he's bigger than normal. And he's not like a human character. He fights like a monster. We're playing in Dragonbane, so I created a homebrew character to work for this character. I compared him to other monsters in the book to try and keep him pretty even, so he wasn't too overpowered, but he was an annoying character for my players to deal with. He's guarding this fort with 3 of his minions. His minions are spaced out in different areas, like ready to be sneaky. And my party comes up to this fort where this werewolf is guarding, and they're ready to just run in. Like they see some stuff going on, and they're like, "It's a fight, let's go," And so like right away, my wife gets shot with an arrow by the scout who's waiting there. She takes like 10 damage. Her character almost goes down. And this werewolf, this techno-mancer werewolf, starts like teleporting around the battlefield and splitting up the party, grabbing people, teleporting them away, getting a few punches in, moving away. He's being very annoying and tactical, and he's a pretty devastating character to interact with because he's dangerous the way he can get you away from your other party members and put you on a different part of the battlefield. He also has the ability to pin people down because he's got like all these electrified pitons and stuff. So I made a character that I knew was going to be interesting to play and also was going to be difficult to beat. So right away, my son is starting to attack this werewolf with his spear, and the werewolf magnetizes the spear with some other items in the world. And my son uses this as actually a really cool attack moment. He moves himself into a position where he can let go of the spear, and it goes flying through one of the werewolf's underlings and spears him and throws him up against a wall. That was a cool end. My wife sees another one of the werewolf's underlings who's sneaking up on the side, and so she pop, she doesn't shoot them. She she uses her bow and like pop, twice in the head. She rolls a crit, takes out 2 of the werewolf's underlings are already dead. The werewolf is still moving around the battlefield, just pummeling people with these electric hits that create static discharge and can paralyze people. And so my son is taking a bunch of damage. My marshal his character's taking a bunch of damage. So everyone's getting wrecked by this guy. But he also knows that his party is falling, and he's kind of on a losing battle right now. He doesn't have a lot of hit points. He's not like a super healthy character. He's just really, really hard to catch, and he's damaging. He actually calls for his last underling. Hey, start preparing the ritual. We're getting out of here. Okay, so she calls up the totems, and as she's calling up the totems for the ritual, Landon comes in and launches her into one of her totems and breaks her spine. She dies. The werewolf is now basically like, okay, what do I do? Am I peacing out? Am I attacking? I have one more attack with him, and I use it to cast Chain Lightning, which goes through my son's character, through Marshall's character, through my ex-wife's character, and through my wife's pig. 2 of them go down. My son and Marshall's character both drop. They're down on death saves. My ex-wife's character is damaged, and so is Arthur the pig. So new round of initiative comes up, and the werewolf goes on number 2 and number 3 and I think number 5. And Landon is going to be going first. My son is down, Marshall's down, and the werewolf is standing right next to him. So there's this moment where Landon is looking, and he's trying to figure out the battlefield. And he's going, that werewolf goes right after me. And he's got 2 actions, and then, Bishop gets to make a death save or something, and then he gets to go again. So he's kind of doing the little brain dance thing where he's trying to figure out how bad is this going to be. And he's like, I think I need to sacrifice my character. And when he first said it, I was like, all right, well, what are you thinking? What do you want to do? And he says, well, I want to teleport him up 100 meters and then drop him. And then he's like, well, maybe I could cast slow fall on the way down. And we kind of worked out the math, and I'm like, no, you'd actually hit the ground before the next round. You wouldn't be able to cast slow fall and teleport. So if you teleport him up 100 meters, you're falling with him. And I'm like, but also you've seen him teleport around the battlefield, so he's probably going to be able to teleport before he hits the ground. And Landon's like, what if I held on to him? And that was like where I started reading in and going like, okay, Landon is willing to take his character, grab onto this guy, and teleport up 100 feet and then hold on to him and just rocket down to the earth. And I was like, that's a cool moment. Like, I was like, I'm trying to think of a reason why that shouldn't work. And I'm like, I kind of want to let this happen. I mean, the alternative, all obviously, is this character is going to pummel my son's character on the ground, pummel Marshall's character on the ground, and probably finish off my ex-wife's character. Like, he has this many attacks, and he can hit 3 different targets. So, anyways, I'm like, all right, yeah, you're going to need to make a grapple check. You're going to need to try and grab this wolfkin, who's pretty good at grappling. Landon ended up rolling a better grapple, so he runs down into the area, he grabs onto the wolf, he gets a successful grapple, and he just teleports him up, right? And they're both flying up the air, and I'm like, okay, now I'm playing out with Landon. All right, the wolf knows you have him by his armor, and he is just beating the crap out of you. He's just punch, right? And after the first 2 hits, Landon character is going unconscious, right? And the werewolf takes another couple actions just to finish off Landon's character, but I give him this moment. You know, I'm like, you're there, you're holding on to him, and you get the sense that his apparatus on his back is starting to spin up. There's a fan going and a little compressor. He's about to start to pump out of there with a teleport. I'm like, but you find a way to get your fingers and jam them into the fan. It grinds up your hand as it's happening, but you congeal the inside mechanism. And as the werewolf is trying to teleport away, it sputters and fizzes out. You guys both hit the ground. And it was like this, it was this moment where like my son was going like, what do we do? We got to save Landon's character. And I'm like, you know, and part of me was like, yeah, I mean, I want that too, but this was way cooler, right? This was a character choosing to let their character, this was a player choosing to let their character go so that other people got to hang on to their character. It was such a cool moment. Have you had that happen? Have you ever had a player, obviously a bunch of you have had that happen, but I'd be interested to hear your stories. I'd be interested to read through some of those because this was a cool moment. You know, this was a very interesting moment. We just, you know, a player looked at the scene and went, I don't know what to do except try and, you know, pull them off the cliff with me, right? Like that's, anyways, it was very cool. It was a fun fight. It was a good evening overall. We had a good game. There was a lot of good moments. And then, you know, we had like a little mystery to solve afterwards, but my players successfully took out this whole, antagonist team, and they did a good job of it. Like they actually, you know, even though they weren't being stealthy and like sneaky going up in here, they did a really good job of taking out this other team, especially considering that I had kind of made a custom boss for them to fight against, and they rather enjoyed it. So this was a good night, a successful game session. I would be interested to hear your thoughts about one more thing. So Landon's character, Quinn, is dead after this encounter. His character, Quinn, was a mage, and his character, Quinn, had a strange eye, and his eye was part of the reason why he came back to this place called the Misty Vale. And what I sort of worked out in the story was that a long time ago, his character was sent out as an emissary, you know, in like a dragon egg, and he was offered as a present to some other nation, and you know, something happened, the egg never got opened, you know, 500 years pass, and eventually someone finds the egg, kind of like a Superman story, but he's not like a superhero. Anyways, and now he's kind of had the beacon to go off to return home. And so part of my thought was I'd actually like to use the character still, but I don't want to cheapen the death by just going, oh yeah, the dragons brought you back to life or something. So my players' characters took Landon's body and gave it over to this dragon that they rescued. He's taking it up to the mountain to do something. I don't really know exactly what to do with it. But again, I don't want to just go, look, Quinn's alive, you know. But at the same time, I don't want to not finish out the fulfillment of what was an interesting story for Landon's character. So if you have any thoughts about that, like how to resolve a character death without subverting the character death, you know, like how to finish that out, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on it. I'm tired because it's like 2 o'clock, and I think I've recorded this video 3 times now. I'm going to leave this be. I know that, yeah. Anyways, I appreciate your thoughts and comments. Yeah, let me know what you think about this, and God bless you. Have a good night. Let me know if you have any stories about character deaths and character sacrifice. I'd be interested to hear those as well. So, all right, God bless you. Have a good night. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.